this is Arunava Chaudhuri and you are on my YouTube channel Arunfoot. The much awaited meeting organized by the Sports Ministry in regard to the future of men's club football in India was held at the Sports Authority of India headquarters in New Delhi on Wednesday, 3rd of December. And there was a lot of expectations from certain quarters. Some people hoped. But I had warned that if you expect something to come out of this meeting, given the state of the whole ISL tender failure, the lack of interest really to pick up the commercial rights, this round of meetings highlighted why it is at the moment so difficult to convince someone with commercial interest to come forward and pick up the rights for Indian football. Very simply said, the ISL clubs have their thoughts and ideas. They're not speaking with one voice. There are I-League clubs who are looking at their own interests, smaller clubs as well. And on top of that, if we look at the commercial side of things, nobody actually turned up. FSDL was there out of courtesy to the Government of India, to the Sports Ministry. Fan Code came along because they had shown interest potentially in the broadcast as an OTT platform. And Z Sports also turned up. But again, they're re-entering the sports space, and some of the comments that have come out from their attendee seem to showcase and highlight the lack of understanding of where we stand. This meeting once more showed and highlighted the problems across stakeholders in Indian football. The All India Football Federation is not in charge of the process. Their leadership is not in charge of the process. I think we know that by now. They fall back and blame others. Be the Supreme Court, be it the clubs, be it FSDL, Reliance. It isn't the fault of the AIFF leadership. Guys, it is your fault. If you had maybe negotiated a little earlier, a little smarter, we might not be in this situation. Or you could have organized maybe a different organization to run and organize your football. Could have been. On the other side, certain ISL clubs saying, or I-League clubs saying, hey, let the league be organized by the AIFF. Some even saying, hey, why don't you put the ISL and I-League together and do one big league? Some ISL clubs coming around saying, hey, let the clubs organize the league. Some saying, no, forget the ISL, create something new. There's a lot of ideas. But the key question or the key questions are who's going to fund it, who's going to organize it, and who's going to broadcast it. It is not a pure football question. It is a commercial question. It is a strategic question. It is how do we take Indian men's club football forward? And those questions need answers. That there are problems at all levels should be clear to everybody. At the moment, the commercial model which is there is not working. Period. There's no need of a conversation. The problem at the moment is, can we get all of this together? Can it work? And if I see the outcome of this meeting, then there is no outcome of the meeting. The sports minister heard and listened. But the sports minister can't go around and say, listen, let's force someone to pick up the rights and are you ready to lose, let's say, 1,000 crores in the next 5 years? We're talking about those kind of figures. If we are not going to be willing to talk about a midterm and long-term solution to Indian club football, that's the starting and ending of all discussions. We need a mid to long-term solution to Indian men's club football's woes. The ISL, if it remains the top tier, needs to become commercially viable for the clubs, for the league organizers, and also in the interest of the All India Football Federation. Because if money is made in this league, that money is reinvested in the system as anywhere else in the world. And then it trickles down the system as well. The I-League is fighting its own battles. One has to be honest that the investment in the ISL is way, way higher than the I-League. To compare those two leagues, yeah, sometimes on the field you can, but commercially you cannot. That is also an understanding which needs to be there. If you want ISL teams commercially to compete with the ISL, then you need to up the level in regard to finance in the I-League as well. I-League 2, I-League 3 is a totally different discussion. But the outcome of the day is rather to say there is no outcome. And we've lost another day because with no outcome, the question now is, what is the next step? What is the sports ministry going to do? What is the AIFF going to do? How will they go back now to the Supreme Court and say, you know what, we don't have a solution? If they're honest, they would have to say that to the bench of the Supreme Court of India. There is no easy solution. There are tough decisions, hard calls to be made. But who's going to make that call? Who's going to go to Supreme Court and say, you know what, we need a few changes in the constitution. We need a few things that we need to rectify. When does the AIFF realize in its current form, it cannot continue? Kalyan Chaube, Satya, sorry guys, you should resign because you are unable to solve the most crucial problem in Indian football at this moment in time as we speak. And that is the league structure of Indian football. Because if this is not sorted, the rest of the system is suffering. We have the Indian women's under-20s, under-17s qualified for the Asian Cup. Even the boys under-17 have qualified. But what about their preparations? I know people tell me again and again, you know, the AIFF have money and it shouldn't be an issue. The money factor is an issue. And the question is how we're going to solve this, how we're going to sort this. It needs decisions. And maybe to the AIFF, to the clubs, to the sports ministry, maybe some outside input might not be bad. Think about it. Maybe some new ideas, thoughts need to come in. But the commercial side cannot be forgotten because that is the key of solving the problems in Indian men's football. And today brings me closer to say again and again, the likelihood of the 2025-2026 season happening has decreased a little bit more. What do you guys think about this sports ministry organized set of meetings? What do you have to say? Anything that I maybe missed or maybe should have said? Write it down below. And as always, like, share and subscribe Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com. And I'll be back very soon. So Arunava Chaudhuri signing off. Bye for now.